Welcome to everyone here. Welcome to the newcomers and to those that are returning. Welcome back. This is going to be part of the language and style category. And much like the delivery category, this will be split into multiple subcategories. You don't have to watch any of these videos in any order whatsoever. You can watch it in whatever order you need it or want it as. There will be mentions of other categories and other subcategories in every single one of my videos, as while there are specific focuses on each video, what the topic shall be, public speaking cannot be as cleanly cut as other subjects and would often, and a large number portion of the time, cross over with one another. This video specifically will be part of the language and style category, as I've mentioned, more specifically, formality and informality. What is language and style? Language and style is how you use your words. If delivery is how you, deliver or speak it, language and style is the words you choose and how you arrange them or how formal and or casual your tone sounds. Everyone has their own speaking styles. You don't have to worry about that. Some speaking styles are better than others, natural speaking styles that is, but you need to learn to be able to switch between multiple speaking styles to be able to convey your message more properly. This speaking style needs to be expressed differently depending on your audience and the setting that you are currently in. This is why language and style is needed. You wouldn't speak to your teacher or a large audience the same way you talk to your best friend unless you are that close to your teacher or unless you're a college student. But even then, there's always this sort of tone of respect that you don't usually feel for your best friend. Of course, you'll always have respect for them, but compared to your teacher, it's not as evident, so to speak. It's not as noteworthy. It's not as there. The difference in the tone, structure, and the word choice is what we call formality and informality. Formality and informality is described about how structured or relaxed your way of speaking is. Of course, in a formal tone, you would use formal or proper languages, grammars, etc., etc. Casual, you can use slang, you can curse if you need to, if you want to, and you can even shorten or hyphen certain things that usually you would not do or make sense in a formal setting or in a formal tone. Formal language is used in a more serious, respectful, or professional situation. It's more organized, uses complete sentences, avoids slangs or casual phrases, or even curses included. You'll go on full sentences, no cutting off, you'll continue on over and over, even using words that would sometimes be hard for you to pronounce or say, mostly because it sounds more formal and proper. You'll want to use formal language when you're speaking to an audience you don't know personally, giving an academic or professional presentations, writing or presenting something official, showing respect to authority figures and elders. Like me, for example, currently in this video, I am using a more formal leaning tone rather than an informal leaning tone. Why? Because I don't know you, and if I were to accidentally say something too casual that could offend you, that'd be bad for me. So my wording is usually much more formal than informal. While my body language says otherwise, my language and style is more towards formal. Formal speech helps you sound more credible and or polished. It makes you sound more, technically it makes you sound smarter, more official. This isn't always something you have to sound like when it comes to public speaking. Not always. You just need to sound more confident most of the time, but formal speech can sometimes make you sound smarter than you are or than you're feeling. So, for example, instead of saying, "Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you about," or you say something like, "Good morning, everyone. Today I'll be discussing, or will be discussing, today, or more specifically, I'll be introducing you to," or and so on and so forth. And then there's or another one for that thing's really important. You say, "This point is particularly important." Something or something similar, the likes of, this now this is an interesting point. As you can see, it sounds formal. It sounds official, so to speak. Of course, formal does not mean robotic. It means respectful, thoughtful, and clear. How do we differentiate between formal and robotic? You're going to have to look at our tone video specifically, as that will help you differentiate it. Informal language, on the other hand, is relaxed, is used in a more relaxed or familiar setting. It sounds more natural, friendly, conversational, the way you talk to your classmates, friends, or peers, and family. You'll use informal speech when speaking to smaller or more casual audiences, or audiences that you already know from that you are already familiar with or already know. Hosting relaxed discussions and or practice sessions with one another for one reason or another. This also includes study groups, engaging in conversational style videos or Q&A talks, aka podcasts. Podcasts use a more informal style with a slight hint of formal. What do I mean by that? Technically speaking, they are doing it in an informal way, even though the words they use are technically more formal leaning. Why is it more formal leaning? Again, they don't know who their audiences are. And sometimes things can happen in a video that the audience may not like, whether this be a word they used or something similar. So it's better to use a more formal words rather than using a more, well, relaxed or informal word. Of course, most podcasts, however, are definitely more informal than formal, with a few formal words or formal styles thrown in there. However, it is, like I said, more informal leaning, unlike my videos, which are more formal leaning. Informal language helps you sound approachable and relatable. It makes you sound friendly, open, welcoming. I'll be talking about why public speaking can actually be fun. Or, let's be honest, we all blanked out during a presentation at least once. That is more informal. It doesn't sound like it. No. The words I use, however, doesn't sound like it. How does it sound so informal? Again, check out our video on tone. You'll understand there. Informal speech is great for connection. It makes your audience feel at ease. Just remember, casual should never be careless. There's a difference between casual and careless. Casual is speaking respectfully with, well, casual wording, jokingly, so to speak. Careless, on the other hand, means you're being rude. You can say words that can technically be considered as rude or mean, and your audience or the one you're talking to does not understand it as a joke, rather considers it a rude or mean comment, which makes it careless, which you do not want. There's a difference between careless and casual. The problem is finding the balance most of the time. In public speaking, the most effective communication or communicators use a blend of both. Being too formal makes you too distant and stiff. You'll basically be a robot. Too informal can make you sound unprepared or unprofessional, depending on what you're talking about and and who your audience are. The best speakers find a balance, sounding respectful, yes, yet natural. Like I said before, my videos are more formal leaning, with a hint of informality, mostly in my body language and tone. While certain or other videos or other YouTubers or other content creators are more informal leaning with a side of formal. Most educational videos, in my opinion, are more formal leaning with a side of informal, while more casual videos like game theory or podcast channels are usually more informal leaning with a side of formal. Certain podcasts, however, are formal leaning with a side of informal. What kind of podcasts am I talking about? The ones that are talking about serious things rather than talking about things they like anime and or the a TV series or just a casual discussion. It'll be talking more about business practices, the psychology of businesses, and so on and so forth. Usually, those take a more formal tone with a side of informal. For example, good afternoon, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing my thoughts on teamwork. Now, I know the word teamwork makes some of our eyes roll, but bear with me. It's more important than you think. Here, the speaker starts formally. The words start formally, then eases into a friendly tone, especially during the third sentence, which is the now. I know the word teamwork makes some of us roll our eyes, but bear with me. It's more important than we think. More specifically, that part is the more informal side of things. The shift keeps the audience's attention while maintaining credibility because you're finding the perfect balance between the two of them without sounding too informal nor too formal. How do you adjust your level of formality? Number one, know your audience. Who are you speaking to? Classmates, professionals, a mixed group? Your tone should match those expectations. If it's to classmates, then I would suggest, depending on your classmates' age or what grade you're in, you may need a more formal or informal leaning tone or informal leaning style. For professionals, I would suggest a more formal leaning style unless it is more like TED Talks. Then you can use a slightly more informal style than a formal style. A mixed group, which is also technically TED Talks, I would suggest you will look at number 2. Understanding the purpose of your talk or presentation. Are you informing, persuading, or entertaining? A persuasive or academic talk usually needs to lean towards formal because you need to convince them something. An engaging or creative one, like entertaining, can be used in a more informal or casual style. Number 3, mind your language. Mind your language choices or mind your words. Formal, for instance, assist, demonstrate, therefore. Informal, help, show, so. Choose based on how serious or relaxed the situation is. You can, of course, also mix it up. You can use assist, but then you use the word show and so. Mix it up, you can. Like I said, I have mentioned in another video that public speaking is not meant to make you sound smart. It's meant to help you connect and inform your audience or entertain them depending on what you're using it for. So, mind your language choices. Use it as you see fit. Sometimes you need a mix of both. Sometimes you just need one side more than the other. And sometimes when you're feeling confused whether or not you should use formal or informal, I would suggest using a more informal language while using a formal or a respectful tone. What does that mean? Example. So, I can help you with this problem if you just show me why you're having this problem or show me the root of this problem. That is informal wording with a formal or respectful tone or serious tone, so to speak. You can use whichever way you want. The only thing you need to mind is like I said, understand your purpose and know your audience. Sometimes you can use more complicated languages or more formal or technical languages. But again, know your audience first. Is it to professionals? Then yes, go on ahead. Use a more technical terms. Use Latin words if you have to. But if you're talking to a more casual group like classmates or even just your friends, your family, or just your everyday people, then use a more casual wording. Number 4, listen and adapt. Notice how your audience react. Are they engaged or distant, or are they ignoring you? If they seem stiff, loosen up a bit. If they're destructive, tighten your structure. I will warn you about this, however. Your audience may not be too interested in your wording, in your words, presentation, and or speech if you're in a class. Students do not have the best of attention spans, even without their phones or gadgets. So, if you're in a class, I would suggest you pay attention to the lecturers or the teachers, as they will need to pay attention to you to grade you. So I would suggest you look at their reactions more if you're in a class. However, if you're not in a class, I would suggest you be very careful with how you see your audience, because usually that can very much matter. Let's see. Here's a quick practice idea. Take one short paragraph of your speech and try rewriting it in both a formal or informal version. Example, formal. Public speaking is an essential skill that allows individuals to communicate their ideas effectively in any environment. Informal. Public speaking helps you share your ideas no matter where or when you are. Notice how they essentially say the same thing at the core, but with a different feel. This awareness helps you control your tone as a speaker. Informal and formal is just the wording. Nothing more, nothing less. Key takeaways is that formality and informality aren't opposites. They're tools. They're meant to help you. Use formality to sound professional and respectful. Use informality to sound genuine and approachable. When you know how to shift between those two, you'll sound confident, adaptable, and fully in control of your message. However, some words will always be considered informal no matter what, while other words will be considered formal no matter what. This is where you need to find the balance in your speaking. Thank you all so much for watching or listening to this video. I hope this helps you understand how formality and informality can affect your speaking style, and learning how to balance the both of them can make you a more effective communicator or public speaker. This video is part of the language and style category, focusing on formality and informality. If you'd like to continue learning, check out the other videos on our channel, whether it be from the delivery category or from the language and style category. Remember, great speakers don't just say things, they adjust how they say them depending on who's listening. Their flexibility is what makes your message powerful. Goodbye for now, and I hope to see you in the next video.